The Scots have a lot to answer for. They invented curling, and nowhere else has it been taken up more enthusiastically than in Canada. What is the appeal? It lacks hockey's fire and football's violence. Indeed, it lacks any kind of action at all.
That makes no difference to the thousands who turn out to play in the dozens of Bonspiels across Canada. And nowhere do they turn out in greater numbers than in Winnipeg. Every year, the Manitoba Curling Association hosts the world's biggest Bonspiel. This year, it took place in the midst of the Conservative Party convention. Tom Alderman was there.
Play right, quick, start. Right up. Whoa, whoa.
Sound the pipes. Pour the beer. Beat the drums. The curlers have descended once again upon Winnipeg.
But Gordy, is this a bigger deal than the PC convention?
Tommy, this is the only big deal in town this weekend. There's 3,000 players that are going to go out there, and they're going to toil for about 4 days, most of them, and some of them will go on as long as 5 and 6. So it's important. It's important to Winnipeg.
The national media turned out for the PC convention last weekend. But to folks in Manitoba, it was a minor distraction from the main event in town, the annual MCA Bonspiel. The Bonspiel has to be what passes for the major social, athletic, and even cultural events on the prairies during the winter season. Bonspielers from right across the country gather together to drink a little, kick up their heels a little, maybe even get in a little curling. They regard these conventioneers as 3,000 extra unnecessary bodies, taking up valuable space in the city's bars, and nattering on about inconsequential matters like Joe Clark's leadership abilities.
Whoa, whoa!
Little wonder it's the world's biggest Bonspiel. Winnipeg has more curling rinks than anywhere else. A good thing, too, because just about any four-man rink with a $110 entry fee is welcome in this free-for-all. You don't even have to be particularly good at the game.
They get one. Why?
Case in point is the Keith McLeod rink from Dougal, Manitoba, starring Keith, his cousin, Murray, and buddies Willie Habing and Lloyd Pollardwer, all of whom have begged off work for the event. You'd wonder why these strapping lads wouldn't be out playing a real sport, like hockey.
Bad knees.
You got bad knees?
Bad knees.
What do you got?
Bad liver, I suppose. Yeah, starting there.
They should start working on their game as well. The non-curler may have trouble figuring out this scoreboard, but our boys are down 10-3, the makings of a bad beating.
Our strategy was to spot them 7 or 8 and see if we could catch them.
Curling is shuffleboard in slow motion. Hard to understand why it's so popular in Western Canada. It's probably as good a way as any to pass the time between drinks. The idea is to slide a chunk of stone to a target down the ice. Grown men make like cleaning ladies to help it slide a little farther than it ordinarily would. The team that leaves the most stones near the center of the bullseye wins. The average team can get lucky, but at the end of a 2-hour game, talent usually wins out. Our heroes lose their first outing. Polite congratulations, then on to the main business at hand.
Let's go drink.
It takes organizations to shuffle more than 700 teams around town and keep them happy. Even if some teams are getting their brains beat out, in this spiel you can lose, and still win something.
Everybody that's in the Bonspiel comes in on 2 sides. It's a double-sided draw. Okay. So your first game is in the Eaton event. Yeah. If you lose your first game, then you can lose the first games all the way through and drop right out after 4 games on that side.
I mean, if you lose 4 games, you're out of the ball game.
No.
You're not out of the ball game.
No, you're just out on the one side.
You're out on one side. There's another side you can get out of.
Then you've got to lose 4 on this side and go out.
I think I may have to go back to school and get my PhD in Bonspiel science.
We may have to go back to the beginning and start this all over again.
What do you do when you're not curling? A Bonspiel like this.
Drink.
The thrill and excitement of curling may elude the non-player, but the game has plenty of cheerleaders to show us the light.
And so the camaraderie of 4 people getting together on a weekend of this nature and competing, and as you mentioned earlier, having a really good time and getting into the odd disco and having to get up early and drink a little bit, possibly, makes it 4 or 5 days of complete entertainment. I think it's really something.
Well, you bet, huh?
The Spiel doesn't just draw local sports. There's a lively traffic in out-of-town devotees, like this shipping magnate from New York, who gave himself a week off work and steps into a waiting limo to ferry him to his first Grand Marnier. How does an American millionaire get hooked on curling?
It's in line with my philosophy of sports. A little bit of activity and a lot of drinking.
What's your expectations for this Bonspiel? Do you?
I would like, for once, one player to make 2 shots in a row.
This is why the Spiel's so popular. It's as close as Winnipeg gets to a Mardi Gras, as close as you can get in minus 30-degree weather. The parties go all night. Look, is it smart for an athlete of your ilk to be drinking and hoorahing till 4 o'clock in the morning as you were? I mean, here it is first thing in the morning, for you first thing in the morning, and look what you got in your hands.
Well, it's breakfast.
Breakfast will straighten you out?
Breakfast will straighten me out, yeah.
The morning after the night before. Happily, you don't have to be completely sober to curl, which is just as well for the boys from Dugald. They have drunk deeply and perhaps too well of the sorrow of defeat. The McLeod Rink's training methods would be the despair of any fitness coach, but they'd argue that their day's opponents have been working out precisely as they have. May as well try for an edge, though. Ambition makes men do rash things, like real exercise. The boys are actually limbering up before a match. This is a rare scene. Curlers warming up with something other than a rum and coke. Since when is a curler interested in staying in shape?
Well, everybody's in shape. You got to be in reasonable shape to curl.
Hey, look who's talking. Where'd this come from?
Well, this is practice, eh? You got to have room for after off-ice activities, eh?
In hopes of an even bigger edge, Willie is anointed skip. The reins of management handed to the team's youngest. Is he up to it? Alas, no.
All right, what's your excuse? Well, I think actually the problem was I hurt because I didn't have any, like, from 2 o'clock.
You didn't have any what?
We dried up. Never had a drink. We dried up.
Willie's got a chance to redeem himself. If he misses, it's ball game over. It's ball game over. Back to work tomorrow morning. They didn't do all that well, but those were some terrific parties. To the Easterner, it looks like a ridiculously simple game. And it is. Even I can do it first time out. The form's a little shaky, but it's there. A little gentle brushing.
Sweep, 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 sweep.
I even know all the right yells.
Easy, hurry, 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 hurry.
Whoa. A perfectly executed double bimp and squib. Easy. Please, give me something hard to do.
3,000 people can't be wrong, you know. Us Westerners are pretty sharp. But you Easterners are way behind.
Are we way behind? Maybe you can explain to me what the appeal of this game is, because there are a lot of people whose mind wanders when you just mention the word curling.
Well, I don't think it's true, really. The key is that, I will admit one thing only, that you have to sort of know a little bit about the game and participate a little bit to sort of have a feeling for it. But once you get on the ice, once you put that slider on your foot, and you get the feeling, the motion, I got you. And it's proven. I proved it in Kitchener, I proved it in Fredericton, I proved it everywhere I go. Get me the people, I'll get you the curlers.
Well, probably means that kids are easily calmed.
You're beautiful, I love you. You can never break me down. We could sit here all day, and I'd wrestle you to the ground.
To those who don't curl, there are a number of words to describe this game. Turgid, slow, mind-numbing, the perfect game for portly middle-aged. That's why it's hard to believe that 1 million Canadians play this thing, and a lot of them are young. They even turn out to watch. Joe Clark obviously picked the wrong crowd to impress in Winnipeg. The Tories gave him 67% support. He could have turned up here, performed the double bimp and squib, and got 100% support and respect, because curlers appreciate true leadership in a game that counts. I'm Tom Alderman for the Journal.